As healthcare moves away from traditional fee-for-service models, providers need a strategy to stay competitive. That's where Strategic Healthcare Partners comes in. We offer expert consulting and ongoing management oversight for providers looking to form an accountable care organization. From financial feasibility analysis to helping you choose the right ACO in a crowded market, SHP provides the clarity you need to make informed decisions and transition to value-based care. Learn more at shpllc.com. Welcome to Beyond the Stethoscope, Vital Conversations with SHP. I'm your host, Jason Crosby. In this episode, we try something a little different. Over the next couple of weeks, let's think about what if your healthcare provider went bananas. And no, I don't mean bananas as in crazy or the fruit, but the baseball team, called the Savannah Bananas. Like the popular What If Disney Ran Your Hospital book, this baseball team takes engagement and fandom to a whole other level. And after attending a game recently, the aha moment hit. What if our industry modeled this baseball team? So tune in and listen over the coming weeks as we look into how patient and staff engagement may benefit from this fans first mentality. Hello everyone, to today's episode, I'm your host and guest actually, Jason Crosby. My partner in crime, Aaron Higgins, is unavailable, so you're stuck with me. For this episode, we're going to look at how healthcare can perhaps steal signs from a baseball team and entertainment organization. That's right. After we attended a company-sponsored event a couple of months ago to watch the Savannah Bananas, it sort of hit us. What if your healthcare provider went bananas? Yeah, we kind of went there, right? What if, just like you've heard or read the books of What If Disney Ran Your Hospital, same thing sort of as we were engaged during a Savannah Ball event against the Major League Baseball Alumni Association. So after watching the game, my partner in crime and I start wondering, wow, how can some of this translate to your typical physician practice or hospital visit? Right? It's just completely positive and interactive. If you follow Jesse Cole and Savannah Bananas, you will have heard the mantra, fans first. In fact, it's fans first entertainment. And if you're not familiar with Jesse Cole or Savannah Bananas, just Google fans first entertainment, Savannah Bananas or Jesse Cole, and you'll just see a consistent theme about fans first. And it truly is a complete mentality, atmosphere, culture, but it's also just in their approach. All of their employees, you can just see it throughout the engagement. And so we figured, odds are all of us listening, talking today, we have one thing in common. At one point in time during our lifetime, we've all been a patient, right? We've all had to make that first call to schedule our appointment. We've all waited in those boring, stale, sterile waiting rooms and exam rooms. We've had to take the 2 minutes to simplify all of our symptoms to the provider. And then, of course, the fun billing and payment process, right? So how do you make that a positive experience? Something that truly is memorable. None of us want to be a patient, but we all need that treatment. So how do we take that fans first experience? And if you've been to a Savannah Bananas game, you know what I'm talking about. How do you take that to something like healthcare? It's inconvenient. None of us want it. We just need it. It can be expensive. The staff is overwhelmed and worn out. And it can just be a confusing process. Right? We've got to break down co-insurance, co-payments, etc. What do we owe? What do we don't owe? So how do we make fans of our patients? And that applies to both hospital and physician practice, but we're going to talk about throughout this series, especially from the practice setting, how do we convert the Savannah Bananas fans first experience into a patient experience? All right, we replayed our very first 2 episodes from October 22 recently, where we interviewed Scott Regan, who went through the experience economy. And part of that discussion was his experiences with physician practice administrators going through the initial part of the process, in particular, rehashing a case of his of a waiting room and how they needed to make it much more engaging, and seeing magazines that were 3, 5 years old. How do you turn that around to be more positive? And so when you think of the Savannah Bananas, you think of the entire engagement of the process. When you buy that ticket for $25 online, it is quick, it is easy. You know exactly what you're getting. It tells you what food you're getting, what drinks you're getting. You know you need to arrive to the game probably a good hour and a half before that first pitch. So you know what you're expecting for that $25. You also know when you pull up, you're going to have to walk a good bit to the venue. But that's okay. Why? Because once you get up there, you're immediately encountered by a very engaged, positive, warm, welcoming team member dressed in a banana outfit, who's just excited and gets you sort of excited as well for the event. You then walk a little bit further. You'll usually see some of the team, some of the baseball players, other bananas dressed up appropriately, and you still haven't even shown your ticket. So immediately you are engaged in a positive, interactive, high energy atmosphere. Then you finally enter the gates. And again, it just heightens up that high energy atmosphere. So here you are, an hour and a half before the product, that first pitch, and you are in a positive mindset. Okay, so it's a lot easier to maintain that positive mindset than to change a negative mindset. And so if we're making scheduling an appointment difficult, or setting in a stale, sterile waiting room difficult, we are already facing an uphill battle from the provider's perspective. Why are we making it more difficult before we've even engaged in the service, and in this case, seeing the provider for our treatment? Why are we already creating that negative, stale experience? So part of that fans first mentality is to start off by engaging the fans into a very positive environment, high energy environment. How do we translate that to the healthcare side so that we can convert patients into fans? And so as Aaron and I actually attended a game, like I mentioned before, a company-sponsored game a couple of months back, it was just obvious. Even though we have attended many games over these last 6 or 7 years, every time you go to a game, you are very engaged, excited, and you just walk away with a tremendous attitude. Even though you've already experienced that Savannah banana ball with the banana rolls, all the entertainment involved, you've seen it, you've heard it, but it's as if it's the first time you've been. How do you capture all that into a patient experience, right? And so we're going to talk about that over the next couple episodes, and holding it under the umbrella of what if your healthcare provider went bananas. We're going to talk about staff, how do you get that staff engagement, which is key. So go ahead and do your homework. Look online. We'll have a couple of posts as well. And let's have an engagement here online. And we'd love to hear your thoughts about how you can go bananas in your healthcare setting. And until then, we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Beyond the Stethoscope, Vital Conversations with SHP, a production of Strategic Healthcare Partners.
For more information about our podcast, including back episodes, show notes, transcripts, and more, visit our website at shpllc.com/podcasts.
And I know you've heard it before, but please consider rating our podcast in your favorite podcast app. It helps make others aware of the show.
And our podcast wouldn't be possible without our wonderful team of folks.
Editing and production assistance by Nyla, Wiebe, and myself, Aaron Higgins.
And your episode hosts are Aaron Higgins and myself, Jason Crosby.
Our social media coordinator is Jeremy Miller.
Our executive producers are also our principals, Mike Scribner and John Crew.
For more from SHP, consider following us on social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
And as always, thank you for listening and have a great, wonderful day.
You already know that understanding your data is key to improving patient outcomes and financial performance. But how? At Strategic Healthcare Partners, our analytics services help turn your EMR and other data sources into actionable insights. From identifying areas for improvement to guiding you through implementing changes, SHP supports you every step of the way. Our performance analytics service dives even deeper, providing custom reports that help you stay ahead in the transition to value-based care. Unlock your data's full potential with SHP. Learn more at shpllc.com.